So there's something I need to fix, and I'll be honest, I've been putting it off for a while. So this little screw right here has officially decided it doesn't want to be a part of the team anymore. It's fully backed itself out, so let's fix it. So I built this drawer system about 6 or 7 months ago, and so far it's held up pretty well. And this drawer system has lasted everything we put it through. It's gone through multiple camping trips, a week-long road trip, and some pretty crazy trails. And with this build being the most popular video on my channel, I thought we should give it a review. What are some pros and what are some cons of this exact drawer system? All right, now that's all patched up, let's get into our list of pros of things I like about this drawer system. One thing I took into extreme consideration was the layout of it. Because I have things like this table that's already installed, I needed to make sure that this drawer system worked around it. Now when cooking something, I usually like to use my fold-up table because it is pretty large, and I can't have full access to my storage bin here because it gets in the way of the table. It's little things like having your kitchen storage on the correct side that make all the difference. Another thing I like about this drawer system is how much stuff I can fit in it. Please do not judge my organizational skills. Over the summer, I've fit tons of different setups in here and everything has fit. In fact, I've had tons of extra space I didn't even need. And not having this in here when you're constantly reaching for things in the back, having drawers that can just slide out with easy access is a huge game changer. So because I opted for these locking drawer slides, having these handles on here are super convenient. There's been plenty of situations where I've been packing up camp and my hands are full, and for 10 bucks, it's totally worth the upgrade. When I built the drawer system, I got a really good deal on some particle board for the materials for this thing. Now, if you don't know, particle board isn't necessarily the best material to use for this, as if it gets wet, it can get soggy or blow up. So I bedlinered the entire thing, and so far the drawers are holding up. We've had some pretty mixed conditions with rain and snow. The bedliner is doing its job by keeping that water out, and I've had no problems so far, so we'll see how long she lasts. Now that brings me to my cons list, things I would have done differently and things I plan to change in the future. And the first thing being the particle board. It's not going to be the strongest thing ever. So if you're making one yourself, I would recommend just going with plywood. Now the next thing isn't totally a problem with the drawer system, but more of my inexperience with carpentry. With some of the margins you're playing with these drawer systems to make it look as clean and flush as possible, you might run into some errors if it's your first time getting those parameters exactly right. And I definitely did. The front face of this drawer is not perfect with the frame, so I do get a little bit of rubbing, and the drawer doesn't want to sit in perfectly. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries. My next con might be a shocking one, but it's gonna be these sliders, and I'll tell you why. So coming on the inside of the drawer system, you can see the end of the slider there, which has a little rubber bushing. Now that is meant to soft close the drawer and keep it from rattling. However, this side has completely fallen off and the rubber bushing has chewed itself up. Now I don't know for sure what exactly caused that, but in the future I do have an idea about going Teflon sliders. So segueing off of that brings me to what's next with this thing. Now, I mentioned while I was building this, I wanted to have a bit more counter space, and I was thinking about putting a countertop up here. Now, after traveling with this for a while, the stove in here takes up a lot of space. So I've been thinking about installing an induction cooktop so I don't have to carry the stove anymore. And to do that, I will use these. This is some sort of tabletop gas strut hinge that opens up like that. And pretty much the main benefit to this is that you can have things on your tabletop, and when you open it, nothing's gonna slide off because it keeps it straight, obviously. So let's say I was cooking something on my tabletop, I could use my hinges to access anything inside the drawer, even while I'm cooking. So obviously to run a induction cooktop, I'm gonna need some power. So I do plan on adding auxiliary power to my whole camper build here. So that's another upgrade that needs to be done on, I guess, the drawer system. And finally, the last thing I want to finish is these cubbies here. As you can see, they're just wide open right now, but eventually I do want to special cut some pieces that fit into the sides here that make this completely flat across the top. But so far, this drawer system has enhanced my camping experience by 1000%. If you've never built one before or don't have any carpentry skills, I would say go for it, learn as you go. It's a super fun project and pretty easy to make if you have a couple spare weekends. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'll try my best to get back to you. But anyway, have a good one.